To discuss all of this, we're joined by Eric Mandel, the director of the Middle East Political Information Network, and Matthew Brodsky, senior fellow at the Security Studies Group. Gentlemen, thank you for being with us. Matthew, let's start with you. The peace plan will be released after June. We know that Jared Kushner and Jason Greenblatt have been calling for an open mind. They've also been urging people not to speculate, but because that's what we do around here, we are going to speculate. Now, the plan reportedly includes a political section and an economic section, and reportedly, it will stop short of ensuring a full sovereign state for the Palestinians. What is your read into this? What do you expect, Matthew?
I think if we were to just look at the trend lines of what we've seen come from the administration recently, we've seen a New York Times op-ed by Jason Greenblatt, where the gist of it was to discuss the situation in Gaza, but to end with the point that there is no future for Hamas being in charge of Gaza unless Hamas is going to be the point is that you can't have Hamas be part of a solution if they're going to be in control of Gaza, right? So this takes out a three-state solution, which is something some were looking at. Now, you take that with Kushner's comments, and it's not necessarily tied to a two-state solution. Then you add to it the amount of trips that Kushner and Greenblatt have taken to the Middle East, and you see reports, credible reports recently, that the Saudi Arabia and the Emirates and Egypt have been applying a lot of pressure on Abbas to take up the administration on the offer of the peace plan. So this really points in a direction where there's a lot of buy-in on the economic side. We'll see what happens on the political side, but it looks like they're laying out some groundwork that needs to be considered, I think, in the next month and a half or so.
Eric, if this is, as the reports indicate, a plan that focuses strongly on economic benefits for the Palestinians, focuses strongly on regional cooperation with the Arab countries around Israel, sort of pressurizing the Palestinians to accept this plan, is it a situation where the rest of the world would agree to? Even if the neighboring Arab countries are on board, is the rest of the world going to interfere significantly to any plan that does not offer Palestinians a sovereign state?
I think the rest of the world won't buy in. I think they won't buy in because, number one, they just don't like Trump and anything associated with Trump. Even if it's the most brilliant plan in the world, they're going to run away from, whether it's EU or UN. I think what Trump or Jared Kushner and his team have found is that they said the idea of two-state solution isn't there because the Palestinian idea of two states is a binational state and an Arab state, and it's not two states for two people, so they're going to a different world. That goes along with what Bibi has said for a very long time. Bibi said, we have to actually empower the Palestinians economically. And what he hasn't said, but is true, is that they don't have the structure like Israel created in its pre-state of having rule of law, freedom of speech, freedom of press, getting rid of the corruption in the Palestinian Authority. They're not ready for a state there, and they're certainly not ready to give that state like that, which could fall to Hamas, that state could end up becoming Hamastan and Israel's security would be shot.
Eric, is there, as Kushner is implying, a way to sort of work to the solution backwards, if you will? Start putting these economic incentives in place, start improving the lives of the Palestinians, and then perhaps not under the Trump administration, not under the Abbas administration, perhaps not even under the Netanyahu administration. But once the lives of the Palestinians have been significantly improved, perhaps then the climate is ripe for a real kind of solution. Well,
I've been to a Palestinian-Israeli economic zone, and I talked to a Palestinian manager working for an Israeli company, and he told me that if it was known that he was working there, his life would have been endangered. The leadership endangers the people. If you were able to go directly to the people and they were able to have maybe an election is not democracy, but to get rid of this leadership somehow, then that would be a possibility. But as long as the Palestinians are in control, and it is, and the only reason they remain in control, and it's not Hamastan, is because the Israeli security helps them stop that. This is a situation where Palestinians are worried that to make any deals and to work, Palestinian people to work economically with Israelis. It happens, but nowhere as much as the Palestinian people really want it. They hurt their own people.
So, Matthew, what we're hearing from Eric is a point that you've made as well in the past, is that this is all an academic exercise until there's some kind of meaningful change in the Palestinian leadership, which so far has rejected the site unseen. I do want to shift topics very quickly and talk about Prime Minister Netanyahu wanting to name a town in the Golan after President Trump. Matthew, my executive producer has suggested the name Kfar Maga. What are your thoughts? What could this name be?
Well, I mean, I've certainly thought of my own joking names myself, but I mean, I assume that, first of all, it's a good idea for Netanyahu to do so. This is something that, of course, President Trump would like to see. Of course, this is how he likes to have his name on as many hotels as possible. Also, look, there are special considerations in the Golan Heights, 3 predominantly Druze villages, one of them Majdal Shams. I'm sure these won't be renamed because that would be a much more dicey situation. But look, I mean, there's no shortage of areas that can be named in Trump's honor. I think it's a good idea, and it would be appreciated in the U.S.
Eric, how do you think it'll go over? And what's your preferred name suggestion? Trumpville, Trumptown?
No, Kiryat Trump will probably be.
Kiryat Trump.
So, you know, for Israelis who like Trump and appreciate all the things, I think this is a smart move. But I think Bibi should just think about the relations with the United States. I'm not sure this is productive, especially with the estrangement between Israeli Jews and American Jews.
A little too much Trump pandering.
I think it is.
All right, Eric, thank you so much. Eric Mandel, thank you. Matthew Brodsky, thank you both for your time. All right.